Welcome, baseball fans. Today, we step into the story of a young man whose rise through the ranks of collegiate baseball has been nothing short of remarkable. A pitcher who embodies precision, poise, and perseverance. This is the journey of Trey Yesavage, a name that's quickly becoming synonymous with dominance, discipline, and the art of quiet leadership. His story isn't one of overnight fame or flashy beginnings. It's about development, patience, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. The kind of story that reminds us that greatness isn't given. It's earned one pitch at a time. Born and raised in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, Trey Yesavage grew up in a region that breathes sports. Baseball fields, small-town rivalries, and long summer nights filled with competition shaped his earliest memories. But what separated him from others wasn't just talent. It was his obsession with getting better. From a young age, Trey approached baseball with the mindset of a craftsman. He didn't just want to throw hard. He wanted to understand why a pitch moved, how a batter reacted, what made great pitchers great. He studied the game with intensity, building a foundation that would carry him through every challenge ahead. His parents instilled in him the values that would define his character: humility, hard work, and respect for the grind. They understood that baseball was as much about mental strength as physical ability. Trey wasn't the loudest player on his team, but even as a kid, he carried himself with quiet confidence. Coaches noticed his work ethic early on. The way he approached every practice like it was a championship game. The way he stayed after to refine his delivery, and the way he treated failure as a chance to learn. That mindset carried him into East Carolina University, where he joined one of the most competitive programs in college baseball. ECU wasn't a place for complacency. It was a breeding ground for tough, smart, team-first players. When Trey arrived, he wasn't the star of the rotation. He had to earn his innings, fight for his spot, and show he belonged. And as he had done his whole life, he did just that. Those first few seasons were his proving ground. The early outings weren't always perfect. There were rough innings, tough losses, and long nights of reflection. But where others might have been discouraged, Trey saw opportunity. He used every setback as a stepping stone, dissecting each performance with analytical precision. He didn't shy away from mistakes. He studied them, learned from them, and turned them into fuel. Slowly but surely, the young pitcher from Pennsylvania transformed into the anchor of ECU's pitching staff. By his sophomore season, something clicked. His velocity ticked up, his command sharpened, and his composure became unshakable. The once promising freshman had become the team's ace, the kind of pitcher who could command a game from the first pitch to the last. He wasn't just overpowering hitters, he was outsmarting them. His fastball carried late life that seemed to explode out of his hand, his slider cut like a blade across the zone, and his changeup dropped off the table at the perfect moment. But it wasn't just his arsenal that impressed scouts, it was his presence. When Trey Yesavage stepped on the mound, he carried himself like someone who'd been there before. His rhythm was calm, his mechanics smooth, and his focus absolute. Even when the count was full, the bases were loaded, and the crowd was roaring, he looked unfazed. That poise became his signature. 2024 became the defining year of his college career, the season that elevated his name into national conversations. He emerged not only as East Carolina's ace, but as one of the premier pitchers in the entire country. His stats told one story: a sub 3.00 ERA, double-digit strikeout totals, and countless quality starts. But his impact went beyond the box score. Every time he took the ball, he gave his team belief. He was the heartbeat of the rotation, the player teammates looked to when they needed steadiness in the storm. His dominance wasn't limited to performance. It extended to preparation. Trey's attention to detail bordered on obsessive, the kind of obsession that breeds greatness. Teammates recall how he'd spend hours in the film room studying hitters, tracking tendencies, and breaking down release points. He treated his craft like a scientist in a lab, experimenting, adjusting, evolving. That work ethic became contagious. Younger pitchers began to follow his example, and soon, the entire pitching staff elevated its standard. When the MLB draft rolled around in 2024, Trey Yesavage was no longer a secret. He was a name that resonated with scouts and analysts alike. The Philadelphia Phillies saw what so many others had: the blend of power, intelligence, and maturity that makes for a future star. And when they selected him, it felt poetic. A Pennsylvania kid, homegrown and humble, drafted by his home state team. It was more than a milestone. It was a full-circle moment, the continuation of a dream that began in backyard games and late-night bullpen sessions. Transitioning to professional baseball is no small feat, but Trey was built for it. His approach, his mindset, and his adaptability gave him every tool to succeed. The minor leagues can be grueling, long bus rides, unpredictable conditions, endless repetitions. But for Trey, it was simply another classroom. Every outing was another lesson in consistency, another opportunity to refine his edge. What sets Yesavage apart from so many young pitchers isn't just his talent, it's his discipline. He understands that potential is only the beginning. He's methodical about rest, recovery, and nutrition. He studies his mechanics with precision. He knows when to push and when to reset. These details, invisible to most fans, are what separate the great from the good. Trey Yesavage doesn't just rely on natural ability, he builds upon it daily. Off the field, Trey remains grounded. He's not the type to chase headlines or spotlight moments. He carries himself with humility and gratitude, always quick to credit his coaches, teammates, and family for his success. That humility has made him beloved in every locker room he's entered. He's the kind of player who celebrates his teammates' accomplishments as much as his own, who leads by example rather than words. There's a quiet intensity to Trey Yesavage, a rare combination of intellect and fire that's reminiscent of the greats. Watching him pitch, you can feel the mental game unfolding pitch by pitch. He studies hitters, manipulates counts, and executes with surgical confidence. But perhaps the most impressive part is how he channels pressure. In the biggest moments, when everything tightens and every pitch matters, Trey seems to slow the game down. That ability to stay calm in chaos is what defines elite pitchers. The journey ahead for Trey Yesavage is long, but his trajectory is unmistakable. His name is already being mentioned alongside some of baseball's brightest young arms, and not because of hype, but because of hard evidence. His control, his demeanor, and his consistency have made believers out of coaches, analysts, and fans alike. He represents the new generation of pitchers, cerebral, composed, and relentless. But what makes Trey's story so compelling isn't just his talent, it's his humanity. He's the product of countless unseen hours, of setbacks turned into stepping stones, of belief that never wavered. He reminds us that greatness doesn't happen in a flash. It happens over time, in the quiet moments when no one's watching, in the repetition, in the refusal to settle. As he continues to rise through the Phillies system, one thing is certain. Trey Yesavage is not just another name on a draft board. He's a symbol of what happens when preparation meets passion. He's a pitcher who embodies the idea that success is built from the inside out, from discipline, patience, and faith in the process. Every time he takes the mound, Trey brings more than a powerful arm. He brings presence, control, and the kind of quiet confidence that draws respect from both teammates and opponents. And as his story continues to unfold, it's clear that we're witnessing the making of something special, a career that could one day leave an imprint on both college and professional baseball. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this long-form tribute to Trey Yesavage, a pitcher whose journey reflects mastery through patience, confidence through work, and greatness through growth, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories about the athletes who remind us that true excellence isn't loud, it's deliberate.